You know the feeling. It's that sharp, quiet sting that comes from the person you love most in the world. Maybe it's a sarcastic comment from your adult son that dismisses your opinion. Maybe it's a phone call that goes unanswered for days. Or maybe it's that feeling of walking on eggshells, afraid that one wrong word will trigger an argument or an icy wall of silence. You ask yourself the same painful questions over and over. Where did I go wrong? Why does he treat me this way? Is our relationship broken forever? But what if I told you this behavior, as personal as it feels, is not random? What if it's part of a predictable psychological pattern, a kind of hidden code that, once you understand it, can change everything? What if you could stop reacting with hurt and start responding with wisdom? Welcome to the Mind Architect Lab, Practical Philosophy and Psychology. In this video, we are going to decode the baffling and often painful behavior of adult children. We will explore the 4 hidden psychological goals they are often chasing when they act out with disrespect. We'll go through each one, step by step, showing you how to spot it and, more importantly, how to respond constructively. And you will want to stay for the 4th one, because it's the one most parents completely misinterpret, and it holds the most powerful, counterintuitive key to transforming this conflict into a genuine connection. So where does this powerful framework come from? It originates from the school of individual psychology, pioneered by Alfred Adler, a contemporary of Freud and Jung who focused less on mysterious inner drives and more on our social connections and our fundamental need to belong. The foundational principle is simple but profound. All human behavior is purposeful and goal-oriented. We don't just act randomly. We are constantly, often unconsciously, moving toward a goal. For every human being, the ultimate goals are belonging and significance. We have a deep-seated primal need to feel connected to our family and our social groups, and a need to feel that we matter, that we are capable, and have an important place in that group. Now here's the crucial part. When a person, whether a small child or a grown adult, feels discouraged or believes they cannot achieve this sense of belonging and significance through positive, constructive means, they don't just give up. Instead, they adopt what Adler termed mistaken goals. These are misguided, short-sighted strategies to get that same fundamental need for connection and importance met. This isn't about making excuses for hurtful behavior. It's about understanding the faulty logic driving it. And by correctly diagnosing the specific mistaken goal your son is pursuing, you can finally stop reacting to the symptom and start addressing the root cause. So let's dive into the first and most common mistaken goal: undue attention. The faulty private logic that an individual develops here is, I only count, I only truly belong when I am being noticed or served. As a child, this might have looked like constantly interrupting or acting like a class clown. But in an adult son, it's often more subtle and, frankly, more frustrating. It might manifest as an endless stream of minor crises that he calls you about, problems he is perfectly capable of solving himself. It could be a constant need for your advice on every small decision, from what to wear to a job interview, to what to make for dinner. He puts you in a position of being his permanent consultant, ensuring your attention is always on him. So how can you spot if this is the goal in play? Adler gave us a brilliant diagnostic tool. Check your own feelings. When your son is operating from a goal of undue attention, you will likely feel annoyed, irritated, or pestered. That feeling of, oh, not this again, why is he bothering me with this, is your internal compass. It's the signal that a bid for your attention is underway. Your annoyance is a direct response to the undue nature of the demand. So, what do? The natural impulse is to give in with that exact annoyed attention. You might sigh and give the advice or deliver a lecture on being more independent, but this only reinforces his mistaken belief that, as long as I am persistent and annoying, I can keep my mother busy with me. The constructive path requires you to change the dance. In the moment of the attention-seeking behavior, respectfully withdraw from the script. Instead of solving his minor crisis, say something calm and empowering like, that sounds like a challenge. I have faith you'll figure out the best solution. You are ignoring the behavior, not the person. But the second step is the real magic. You must give him attention at unexpected times when he is not demanding it. Call him out of the blue just to share a funny story. Send a text that says you saw something that made you think of him. When you give positive, no-strings-attached attention freely, you break his mistaken belief that he has to be needy to get it. You teach him that he has your attention simply because he is your son, not because he manufactured a crisis. If the misguided attempts for attention don't work, or don't provide a deep enough sense of significance, a person often escalates to the second mistaken goal: power. The faulty logic here shifts to a more defiant belief. I only count, I only belong when I am in control, or at the very least when I can prove that you can't control me. This is where the dynamic moves from annoying to openly antagonistic. This isn't about your son wanting to be the man of the house in a responsible way. It's about him needing to win. It manifests as arguing for the sake of arguing, flatly refusing a reasonable request, constantly challenging your knowledge or experience, or using a tone that says, "You are not the boss of me." Every interaction becomes a potential battlefield where he must be the victor. And what's the emotional clue for you, the parent? The feeling is no longer just annoyance, it's anger. You feel your authority being directly challenged. You feel provoked, threatened, and a powerful urge to fight back, to draw a line in the sand and show him who's in charge. That rush of anger, that thought of, "You can't get away with talking to me like that," is your internal alarm bell. It's signaling that you have just been invited to a power struggle. And the most important thing to know is this: if you RSVP to that invitation by fighting back, you have already lost the real war, which is the one for connection. Fighting back or giving in both feed the mistaken goal. If you argue, you confirm his belief that life is a battle and you are his opponent. If you surrender, you confirm his belief that he has power over you. The only winning move is not to play. You must withdraw from the conflict, not from the relationship. You can say calmly, "I can see you feel very strongly about this, but I am not going to fight with you." Or, "When you use that tone, I feel attacked, so I'm going to step away from this conversation for now." You are not being a doormat. You are de-escalating. Then later find opportunities to grant him legitimate power. Ask for his genuine advice on something. Let him teach you how to use a new app on your phone. By asking for his help, you grant him the status and control he craves in a way that builds the relationship, rather than tearing it down. You satisfy the need in a positive way. When a person's attempts at attention and power are thwarted, and they feel increasingly alienated and insignificant, they may descend to the next rung on the ladder: revenge. This is the most actively hostile of the goals. The mistaken belief here is dark and born from pain. I feel deeply hurt and I'm convinced I don't belong, so I will get my significance by hurting you back. I will make you feel as bad as I do. Their goal is no longer just to get their way. It is to achieve a twisted form of justice by making you suffer. In an adult son, this is where the behavior becomes truly cruel. It's not just arguing. It's using words as weapons, aimed at your known vulnerabilities. It's bringing up your past mistakes, weaponizing your deepest insecurities against you, or making comments like, "No wonder Dad left," or "You've always failed at this." It can be the forgetting of a significant day, like a birthday or Mother's Day, done not out of carelessness, but with a clear, unspoken intent to wound. He knows your weak spots, and in this phase, he will press on them. The emotional clue for you as the parent is unmistakable and devastating. You feel deeply hurt, disappointed, disgusted, heartbroken. You feel the sting of the comment exactly as it was intended. Your feeling of being deeply wounded is a perfect mirror of the wound, real or perceived, that your son is operating from. The desire to retaliate, to lash out and say something equally vicious can be overwhelming. And this is the trap. If you retaliate, you have just proven his distorted worldview, that relationships are about hurting each other. You have validated his mistaken goal. The only way out is to refuse to continue the cycle. This requires immense emotional strength. The first step is to manage your own hurt and not show the reaction he expects. You must step outside of the revenge dynamic entirely. This does not mean you are a doormat. You can state a firm boundary like, I am not willing to continue a conversation that is designed to be hurtful. But the real work is to demonstrate, over time, that you are not his enemy. It is to show kindness in the face of his bitterness. You cannot fix his hurt, but you can refuse to participate in the cycle of causing more of it. By doing so, you hold open the only possible door to a future peace. And now we arrive at the fourth and final mistaken goal. The one we promised is the most counterintuitive because, on the surface, it often doesn't even look like disrespect. It looks like nothing. This is the goal of displaying inadequacy, or what is sometimes called assumed disability. This is the absolute endpoint of discouragement. The individual has tried and failed in their mind to gain a sense of belonging through attention, power, and even revenge. The faulty logic here is utterly tragic. I am convinced I am unlovable and incapable. Therefore, my only strategy is to get everyone to leave me alone. I will become so useless that you will finally expect nothing from me. In an adult son, this is the classic failure to launch. It's the son who shows no ambition, who gives up on any task at the first sign of difficulty. It's the constant refrain of, I don't know, it doesn't matter, or whatever you want. He seems to have no opinion and no drive. He may be overly passive, seemingly content to drift through life while you handle everything. This feels like disrespect not in an active way, but as a deep disrespect to his own potential, and to all the hopes and dreams you have for him. And this is where we deliver on our promise. What is the emotional clue in you, the parent? It's not annoyance, or anger, or deep hurt. It is utter hopelessness, despair, the overwhelming feeling of wanting to give up completely. When you find yourself thinking, it's no use, he'll never change, there is nothing more I can do, you are perfectly, tragically mirroring his own internal state of surrender. Your despair is the final flashing red light that he is operating from a place of complete inadequacy. So what can be done? The typical response is a disaster. We either criticize out of frustration, you have to do something with your life, or we give up and do everything for him. Both actions prove his mistaken belief that he is, in fact, a hopeless failure. The only antidote to this profound level of discouragement is its polar opposite, pure, unwavering encouragement. You must stop all criticism immediately. You must celebrate the smallest effort, not the outcome. If he simply researches a topic for 5 minutes, that effort is the victory. You must never, ever show pity. You must show faith. Say things like, I know this is hard, but I haven't given up on you. You have to create tiny steps where he can experience success, no matter how small. You are not trying to fix him. You are trying to breathe life back into his own belief in himself, brick by tiny brick. So let's take a step back and look at the map we've just drawn. These 4 mistaken goals we've discussed, undue attention, the struggle for power, the cycle of revenge, and the display of inadequacy, are not random. They are a predictable and tragic ladder of increasing discouragement. A person doesn't wake up one day and decide to seek revenge or display helplessness. They slide down this ladder, step by step, when their need for belonging and significance isn't met in constructive ways. But the most powerful takeaway from this entire framework, the tool you can begin using today, is that you no longer have to guess what's going on. Your own emotional response is the compass. It's the diagnostic key. If you feel annoyed, it's a misaimed bid for attention. If you feel angry and your authority is challenged, you've been invited to a power struggle. If you feel deeply, personally wounded, it is an act of revenge born from his own hurt. And if you feel that soul-crushing despair and hopelessness, you are experiencing the reflection of his own surrender to inadequacy. In the introduction, I promised you a key to transforming this conflict into connection. This is that key. The profound shift happens when you stop seeing your son's behavior as a personal attack on you and start seeing it as a misguided, faulty solution to his own problem. The problem is always a deep feeling of discouragement and a perceived lack of belonging. The disrespect, the arguments, the silence, those are just the clumsy, painful symptoms. And once you truly understand that, the path forward becomes clear, though certainly not easy. You must stop reacting to the symptom and start addressing the underlying disease of discouragement. And the medicine is always some form of encouragement. You give attention freely instead of on demand. You grant legitimate power instead of fighting for it. You show kindness in the face of bitterness, and you hold on to faith when he has none. You cannot control him. But by controlling your response, you change the entire dynamic of the relationship and create the only conditions under which he might one day choose to change himself. To bring it all home, remember the central truth of everything we've discussed today. The difficult, disrespectful, and distant behavior you may be facing from your son is almost never truly about you. It's a symptom of his own discouragement and his own struggle to find his place of belonging and significance in the world. By learning to read your own emotional responses, annoyance, anger, hurt, or hopelessness, you've gained a powerful compass to understand what is truly driving him. This path is not a quick fix, and it isn't easy. It requires immense patience, emotional strength, and the courage to change your own steps in a familiar, painful dance. But this is the work of a true mind architect. It's the choice to build a bridge of understanding, even if the other side seems shrouded in fog. You cannot force a connection, but you now have the tools to create the space where, one day, a genuine connection can choose to grow. If this exploration was valuable to you, we would love to hear from you. Which of the 4 mistaken goals sparked a moment of recognition or a new insight for you? Please share your thoughts in the comments below. Your perspective helps our entire community learn and grow together. If you found value in this breakdown, please let us know by liking this video. It's a simple gesture that helps us understand what kind of content to create for you in the future. And finally, if you want to continue applying practical psychology and philosophy to the real challenges of your life, please consider subscribing to Mind Architect Lab. Thank you for investing this time in yourself and in the future of your relationships.